Hello, my crafty friends and creators from around the globe. DJ here with Hither and Yon Studio. I am back with part 2 of our ephemera holder. So if you haven't watched part 1 yet, you may want to check the description. I will put the link to part 1 in the description box. And so far what we have created was, this is my original, and it's a little stuffed, but we created the outer piece, the majority of this. So we did the flaps and we sewed in our signatures. We did the outer piece, and as you can see here, we have our signature sewn in place. We have our left and right flaps here, and we have some pockets that we created while we were doing our signatures and inside of our left and right flaps. So that's where we are right now. We sewed them in place, stitched on, put on some fabric. I glued this all on. And now what I want to do is attach my strings that will tie this together. And I'm also going to attach a piece of paper here to hold that in place. And it matches the one that I had. In retrospect, I could have just used some blank, but I like that it's also here on the flap. So it's fine. So I'm going to do that, and then we're going to take our vellum and cut it and put it in as pockets throughout this ephemera hold. Okay. So we'll start here, and I got out my big one because the other one was just not working. So we're not using it. So the first thing I want to do is take one of my strips of fabric, and if you don't want to do this part, you don't have to. You can just tie something around it, which is what I've been doing with this one. I just tied and looped this around, and it held it fine. Okay, you could do that. You don't have to do this step if you don't want to. But I do because I just would like these to be attached. Seems a little easier than having to always locate that string. First I'll glue these down. Or glue this one down. And I'm just eyeballing it in the center there. And I want it to lay fairly flat because I got to put the paper over it. So just make sure that's down good and flat. Ish. All right, and then I'm going to glue this cover piece over it, and I cut it just slightly smaller than a 6x9 to fit this spot, and this will actually even up that not so even edge I did with the fabric, which is good. So now I will glue this down. And I want to put a decent amount, especially on the fabric here, that it holds really well. I always feel like a 4-year-old trying to get glue out of the bottle. You know, when you're a caveman. Okay, and then we'll just put our paper down over top of that. Even it up. And then this one I'm going to squish down really well. Make sure all my edges are down nice and tight. Make sure that fabric is down nice and tight, like so. And we want to let this dry really well before we start, you know, actually using it, because you want all that glue to be cured and dried all throughout so that it doesn't rip apart on you halfway through use. And you want it to last a while. So that's one. Now we'll do the other side. There's some extra strings there. Make sure this is going to line up. Actually, I think I like it this way. Good. And my other string or piece of muslin here. Everything is sticking to me. Just do some of that, put it down. I'm just going to make sure it is lining up with the other side well. There. Sorry, you probably can't see that well right now. Just trying to align these like so. And it's good. We'll glue that piece down. If the glue cooperates. Problem is it's getting to the end and it just wants to sit in the bottle. And my other glue bottles were working fine. They've been great. I got them at the dollar store near me. There were 2 in a pack. It's these. And they have that drawing tip, they call it. And they're really good. But of course, the minute you turn on a video camera and everybody's eyes are on you, nothing works. It's like, I don't know, Murphy's Law, my mother used to say. All right, so that is very sticky. I think we got enough glue down. And I will take my paper here and we will just align this like so. And push it down really good. And always make sure that your paper is aligned the way you want it, that the top is the top, you know, and that the bottom is the bottom, so you don't have any upside down sheets. All right. Those are now in place, and now I can just tie those together once my holder is full of goodies, and just tie that in a nice little bow. I don't want to tie it too tight now because I'll rip all that glue out like so, and there you go. But again, like I said, if you don't want to do that, you just wrap something around it. You could even you know, take another piece of paper and use that in a way if you wanted to. I'm sure there's a lot of imaginative possibilities you guys can come up with. So that's all done now, and we're going to just put on pockets. So if that doesn't seem like something you need to watch and you're going to kind of maneuver it, then you can just, that video would end here, or you can skip to the end and see how it's all done. But I'm going to take my vellum sheets and I am going to cut them custom sizes. So you do whatever works to fit whatever you're trying to put in your booklet. I'm not going to give you any specific measurements for what you want to use it for, though I will say that you probably don't want to get too small. Even if you're using small pieces, unless you have very tiny pieces, you don't want to make this too small, because you're going to need to have room on the bottom to glue and on the sides to glue. So if you make it too small, you're not going to have a lot of room to put anything actually in there. So I am going to probably create a couple of pockets that are 3 inches, so about that size. And I think that's good for some bigger items, so I'll put them on the bottom, and I think these are about 3 inches, yeah. So we'll do that, and then we'll put some of those on, and then we can do some smaller ones, maybe about 2 inches above, to hold some, you know, so we can double up on some pages. And then for some other pages, you may not want to put any on the top. For instance, like here, these are pretty tall pieces, so if I have something up top, I'm likely not going to see it. But in other cases, like here, I have some smaller pieces on the bottom, and then I have some scrappies up top here, and this works. So this is kind of what we're gonna go for in a couple of places. This I also did where I took another piece of cardstock, and you can use vellum as well, and on the pages that already have pockets, I actually put it here to hold some really teeny items. So you could use a scrap of the paper that you're working with. So I could use some of these, right? That would match on any of these pockets like that, or you could just use your vellum if you really want to see what you have inside. So let's do some of those. And I'm going to put this to the side and just cut some first. We'll cut a bunch and then we'll glue them. And we want to make them just a little shorter than the length of this, which should be 6 inches. So we probably want to make them about 5.5. You can make them slightly bigger than that. I'm going to just go with 5.5 to be safe. So 3. And then 5.5. And then we'll cut a bunch of 2s as well. And maybe we'll do a corner pocket or 2. All right, so I've just got my cutter lined up to 3 inches and 3 inches. I probably should have done the 6 first, but that's okay. We already started. Now, as far as gluing these down and seeing your glue and all of that, you can use a clear glue. You can use art glitter glue. I think no matter what you use, you're gonna see some semblance of glue. It's gonna show. This is a see-through material. If you're using transparency paper, same thing. I used a 3-in-1 on this, and I don't know how well you can see, but even though it's clear, you can still see that I glued it. I mean, you're gonna see it. We're using it for ourselves. We're using it to hold our ephemera. You're gonna see the glue. So just expect that. You'll see some small bit of it. And if that bothers you, you could take some ribbon or lace and cover over those spots, but that's a little too much work for me, so I'm not going to do that. All right, and now I'm going to cut these down to the 6 inches, a little short of the 6 inches, so maybe I'll do like 5 3/4. We'll see how that fits. I can always trim them again. And then I have this leftover piece, so I am going to trim it down to use since it's here. Okay. And we'll do another sheet of the 3 inches. So let me cut it 6 first, or 5 3/4. All right, then I have a bigger piece to work with, and I can probably get another pocket out of that. And now these are 3. 3. And 3. And then I have this little bit left over, which is 2. Probably could have done that math without having to measure. That's okay. And now I have this piece, so I'm just going to cut this down to 5 3/4 because that will become another pocket. Okay. So that could even be a little pocket if you wanted it to. So now let's cut some 2 inch. And then we'll do like a corner pocket. Let me cut it to 5 3/4 first. So long ways, 5 3/4, I'm cutting it here, and then I'm turning it and cutting 2 inches now for the smaller pockets. But if you don't want to measure, you can just cut, just eyeball it to a size that works for you. Then you don't have to measure at all. I just know some people like some measurements, so we'll make them. I like measurements too, so it's all good. Not all the time. I don't always like to measure. And then I have this little piece left, so that's probably about 3. We'll use that, so there we go. And then we will cut, so our pages, our ephemera holder is 9 inches, right? And if I wanted to do, say, a corner pocket here, I could go maybe about 7, what is that? Yeah, so I'm gonna cut a piece that is 7 inches tall and, let's see, about 5 inches wide. And then I'm gonna come up about 1.5 inches and angle it over. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So let's cut it first to a 7 by 5. Seven. By 5. And we're just doing this so we have room to tuck. So that's why I'm going with 5. And these could be turned into pockets as well. And now I'm going to come up and mark it about 1.5 inches from on the 7-inch side. Just going to mark it there. And just a little mark at about 1.5 inches. And then I'm going to come in up here about 1 inch. I don't think I need to go a full 1.5 inches. Okay, and then from those 2 marks, I'm just going to draw a line and cut that line. Okay, and then that'll give me a side pocket. And again, if you don't want to measure, you can just eyeball this. And we'll put that on the trimmer. And there we go. Oh, creased it a little, that's okay. And you could even use this as a little side pocket as well. So we have a bunch of pages cut. And now we just have to decide where we want them. So these 2 flaps, I like to put the bigger stuff in, but I could put some of the smaller pieces, like the 2-inch pieces down here. if we wanted, like so. And then I could tuck some additional stuff in here. But I think I'll wait on that for now. Right here, we can put one of our side pockets, and you can do a multiple, you know, multiples of these. Make them work for you. You can even do, say, a belly band. If you had some bigger items you just wanted to kind of tuck in here. And actually, why don't we do that? I don't have that in the other one, and I think it might be really useful. So I'm just going to cut this down at 9 inches exactly. Because I think for the belly band, it makes sense. Then I'll have more space inside of it if I glue the 2 edges. So we will cut that to 9 inches. And I know I might be a little off camera here. Just bear with me. All right, so let's do that. And glue that in place. What am I going to use? What am I going to use? I'm going to use art glitter glue because it's quick. If it cooperates. Yes. All right, let's see. And I'm just going to glue that down at the edges. Now I might see some of this glue. That's okay with me. If it's not okay with you, then use 3-in-1. But like I said, you're still going to see a hint. I might put a little more glue. Because this is probably going to get some wear and I don't want it to pull up. So, and we will put that like so. And I'm using vellum, but you could use cardstock, like I said, or transparency paper. All right, well, that's there. That'll be actually good for some of the bigger pieces. I have like these, which I got on AliExpress a while ago. But these would fit perfect, you know, some bigger items or some half sheets or something. That would be there. And here I do want to put some pockets. Like that. And keep in mind, when you have this glued down, even if the pieces are slightly bigger, it's fine because they'll slide over top of it. Now, if you need to see every single little thing all the way down to the edge, you don't want to do that, but you do have the opportunity to have some bigger pieces in here if you needed to. Let's glue this down. And for this one, I got to go down 2 sides and across the bottom and stay as close to the edge as you can. I'm going quick, so. And put a decent amount, but you don't want it oozing out all over the place, so I don't anyway. Maybe you like oozy glue. And then we'll just line this up here. Center it a little, like so. Press it in place. And if you want, you can punch a little piece out of there to make it easier to pull up. But the vellum's a little flexible, so I find it's not necessary. And then you can tuck more items in without risk of them falling out. So that's that. And if you don't like this glued edge, like I said, you could draw over it, or you could put a piece of ribbon or something there. I don't mind it. I'm just going to be using this to hold ephemera. And I think I'll put a piece here for some smaller items. We'll do that. And then this page will have 3 pockets on it, and that's a lot of room. Like so. All right. Okay, and then we have these pages, and I'm going to wait on these because I actually think I might want to use some thin pieces of cardstock. Actually, this will be fun, won't it? I sure will. Okay. Maybe I'll just glue this one here. Yeah, and then that'll bring the green over. And then I could do something up top as well. Guess it doesn't matter. We'll go this way. How lucky that fit. The universe is full of wonders. All right, so I'm going to put that here. Like so. And then it's not so white. It's just a piece of card that I had, so I used it. There we go. We have these two pockets here. I think I'm going to do cardstock up there, so I'm going to leave that. Same here. Here I'm going to add another 3-inch. So, and I could even bring that down a little, but it's fine. It's fine. All right, this one is my pocket, and I'm gonna go this way. And the reason I want to go this way is if anything is tucked in there and wants to fall out when this is closed, it's going to fall to the center and not out of the book. So we'll do that way. And I'm going to glue here, here, here. And I'm going to leave this whole top open. I'm not going to do this tabby here. And I think that will just give it a little more stability and ease of use. Okay, come on. Don't start acting up now. Okay. So we'll do that like so. And so this will like kind of be a little pocket area, and then this will allow for the easier entry. This is a fairly strong glue, so once it dries, it'll be fine, but you can always re-glue it. I mean, it's in your craft room, so if something happens to it, no biggie. Let's see, what do I want to do? Maybe here, I'll do a series of smaller pockets, like so. And then I can put a bunch of little stuff. And if you don't have little stuff, then just do bigger pockets. Right? Oh, of course, now the art glitter glue wants to come out like mad. Now I have too much. So, stick your fingers. The bottom of my craft room floor, the floor, which of course is on the bottom, is like a kindergarten art class. There's always shreds of paper. I'm, use my corner round punch and I'm clip, clip, clip. There's little clips everywhere. There's glue. I'm constantly picking glue off of my fingers. I am like a kindergartner. But it's okay because we're having fun. Just clean this tip. So leave a comment if you feel me, if you look at your floor and it looks like a kindergarten art class on a busy Wednesday afternoon. I love it. I don't care. I love crafting. It's something I have just done my entire life, and it soothes me and it gets messy. That's okay. Because there are worse messes. I'd love to hear if you experience the same, so I don't feel like a weirdo. Oh, and my dog's coming. She's like, it is time to go for a walk. What are you doing? She has been sleeping, but now she is wide awake. And I'll leave that. I'm going to put some bigger pockets here and here. And this is the center of my signature. Let's see, my little string there. And another one. This might be about as exciting as watching glue dry. But I don't know. I watch YouTube videos and other videos sometimes at night. And I don't know, it's just relaxing. Puts my brain state into that state for sleepiness. So even if I'm not crafting along, sometimes it's nice just to chit chat and hear another voice and do some crafting together. So let's see, what do I have? What do I have? That, and then maybe that. You know, there's all sizes of ephemera, depending on what you're using this for. So you'll probably want to do some that are taller pockets, some that are shorter, and once you can just put a few in, and then as you start to fill it, you can see what you need, and you can just add a few more, you know, as you go. So you don't necessarily have to fill this up with pockets right away. You can customize it as you fill it. So that's fun. Put this one here, like so. Good. All right, make sure my pages aren't sticking together. A little more glue on. Because it's lifting. Because. So you take your time and do your gluing a little better. I'm just going quick because we're making a video. All right. So you get the gist of it. I have some more pockets here. I'll probably put them in off camera. No big deal. Some other ideas are, I can get my pen and my glue. Okay. You could glue another pocket on here. You could have, you could glue a couple of flaps together. I've seen that where, you know, you kind of have a flap on the top and bottom and then like one of those twisty things with string. You could do something like that to hold some additional stuff. Some more corner pockets, some side tucks if you wanted to do that, and an additional belly band, which I might actually do because the other one doesn't have anything like that, and I found myself with bigger sheets of paper. Some other things I did in here as I was going along, yeah, see, these just don't work in here, so I'm going to move them, is I had like these taller sheets here that were sticking. This is a side pocket, and then when I close the page, they kind of fold in a little. So I just put a brad through here. I punched a hole, and then this paper just flips up, and it holds them enough so that when I'm turning the page, they're not flopping all over the place. But if you put this in a belly band, you probably won't have that problem. So that was one of the things I did there. This is another side pocket. I did use my hole punch here, but I found that it wasn't even necessary to have it. So no need to really do that if you don't want to. And that is it. All right, so Then we get that all filled up with our ephemera, and we can, or this would be great for card making too, right? You could put your envelopes and your cards, tuck them in, and then have your little accents and pieces like that in here, and that would be perfect for card makers. We just would tie this piece up, and you can decorate the front if you want. Make it pretty. Have some pretty fabric there. You can put some beads through here as you're stitching it, of course. And that's it. That is our ephemera holder number 1. There'll be 2 more videos coming. They'll be a lot faster. This one's a little more involved. Those not so much, and you don't necessarily need to sew a stitch, so look for those coming up soon. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, I hope you'll give it a thumbs up. It helps the YouTube algorithm find my videos and know that people are watching them. And if you like these videos, you can subscribe to my channel here at Hither and Yon, and I hope you'll also follow me on Instagram at Hither and Yon Studio. And all of those links will be in the description box below. Thank you for spending time with me. I hope you all have a lovely day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!